Hello everyone, my name is Mackenzie, and for my Food World History class final, I have recreated a historical rice pudding recipe from the American Cookery by Amelia Simmons. This cookbook was first published in 1796, and I chose this recipe because I thought it would be one of the easiest ones to make in modern day as well. Especially, it is considered one of the first American cookbooks, and it gives us a look into early American cooking after the Revolutionary War. When looking for recipes, I wanted to make sure that I was finding actual historical recipes. So the recipe that I found was through the link provided by Dr. Khan from the Henry Ford Museum, where they have a bunch of scanned or printed recipes out on their website. Okay, before we get into actual showing the ingredients and what we need, here is the recipe from the Henry Ford Museum. Pause to read. This is just a printed or scanned portion of the thing, and the next clip will be me showing the exact ingredients that I have used, and then some clips of me cooking as well.
Everyone, welcome to my kitchen. So the ingredients for this recipe are going to be, obviously, white rice. Can be any type of white rice. Then you're going to be using whole milk only, just for the start of the recipe. 2% in any like low-fat milk will not boil correctly or like taste right. Then you're going to be using a 1 whole cinnamon stick when you boil the milk. Some nutmeg, which will help season your rice, along with rose water, which will also be seasoning your rice. Then you're going to be using butter to butter the pan that we will put the egg and rice mixture in. And lastly, of course, we're going to need 8 eggs.
First thing you're going to do is you're going to set the oven to 350. Next, we are going to add 4 cups of milk. In the milk, you're going to take 1 cinnamon stick and put it in there, and you're going to bring this to a gentle simmer and then add the rice once it simmers. Something that is important to note when cooking the rice with the cinnamon stick and milk, you need to constantly be stirring it, otherwise it will bubble up and the rice will get stuck to the bottom. Right now I am slowly adding in the rice, nutmeg, ground rose water, and cinnamon mixture into the eggs and whisking so they do not scramble. And then once this is done, I will butter up this pan and throw it into the oven. Next, we put it into the oven at 350 for about an hour. Alrighty everyone, it's been about 45 to an hour. It's actually been I think it's been 15 minutes. So it's been in here for about 50 minutes. So we're going to take her out and see what it looks like. What it looks like, it's got a big bubble on the top. So in order to check if it's fully cooked all the way through, you can take a knife. So for example, I'm going to take just this baby knife and you're going to stick it directly in the middle. And it should come out clean, which has a little bit on it. The historical analysis of this dish is quite simple. It is in early American cuisine, and Amelia Simmons is the one who created this recipe. And this cooking actually had a lot of European influence on colonial cooking. People that ate it mostly were middle and upper class households, and these were families maybe with access to milk and eggs and imported spices. Typically, they would get their milk and eggs from their own farm, or typically farms nearby. They would have freshly squeezed milk and warm eggs instead of refrigerated eggs like we have today. And their spices would have came from ships from other countries instead of being very accessible from the grocery store. The purpose of this meal was that it was a dessert and special family meal, and it was not an everyday travel food, whereas today you can buy a cup of rice pudding. Some differences in our ingredients is that back in the day they would have had fresh milk, but we have pasteurized milk, and they would have had fresh eggs like I mentioned, but we have refrigerated eggs from the store, as well as our spices are packaged and already grinded up for us, or we don't have to grate them. Another thing is we have bottled rose water, where back in the early 1800s they would have used typically homemade rose water, and we have our modern grocery stores here are very different compared to our local farms, the local farms they would have used, and or imported goods that they would have had to go buy typically at the dock or at a store. Something that is also important to mention is our cooking differences. Back in the early 1800s, they would have used a hearth over maybe some coal, and they wouldn't have been able to actually count how long it was going to take to cook, or actually have the temperature right to the specific type of temperature we need it. Whereas today I am using an electric oven. I'm using measuring cups instead of estimation and refrigeration, as well as modern cookware like pots and pans, and being able to use like spatulas and whiskers for the eggs as well makes it much more easier today to make very simple recipes like this, whereas back in the day it probably would have taken much more time to create something like this. Alrighty everyone, I cut out okay, anyways, I cut out a piece, and I'm gonna be honest, it looks more like I think I might have cooked it for too long, but we're gonna give it a taste test. Personally, I don't like eggs, but it's okay. Okay.
This is a little bit. Okay.
I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10, but it could have just been cooking error. I think it is definitely not as sweet as what I was expecting it to be. I thought it was gonna be more eggy tasting, but it honestly is pretty good still. But yeah, I think it tastes pretty good. I think maybe I should have added more milk. I'm sure back in the day it didn't look super eggy, but overall I think it was pretty good. I think this was a pretty good like trial run, and I don't know if I would make it again, but I think this helped show me the differences between modern cooking and how cooking was back in the 1800s. For watching. In conclusion, I had a lot of fun making this old recipe of this rice pudding. I think it definitely is different from modern rice puddings. I don't even think there's any eggs used in pretty much any modern rice puddings. But yeah, like I said in the tasting, I don't know if this is something I would make again. Maybe I might try again just to see if maybe I can perfect it, because I'm not quite sure I made it correctly this time. So that's definitely something I could go back and try again. But overall, I really enjoyed this experience and enjoyed learning about the history behind why people ate this type of rice pudding. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.